Hey guys, welcome to Get Busy Watching. I'm your host, Honest Dan. Let's talk movies. Alright guys, today's movie, The Lion King. It's directed by Jon Favreau, who has previously done The Jungle Book and the first two Iron Man films. The star-studded cast includes Donald Glover from such movies as Solo: A Star Wars Story and The Martian, Chiwetel Ejiofor from Sherlock Gnomes, Doctor Strange, and will be in the upcoming Maleficent: Mistress of Evil, Seth Rogen from Long Shot and Knocked Up, Billy Eichner from the Angry Birds movie, and the legend himself, James Earl Jones from the OG Star Wars films and Field of Dreams. Just to name a few. So what do I think of the film? No. Can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I just no. No. Why? Why did this get made? Who greenlit this movie? Disney. But no. No. It's horrible. I will start positive with the only compliment that I can give this movie, and that is giving all the credit to the visual effects department. Holy crap, these animals look real. It is clear that the animators came in, they clocked in, and they did their job to a T. I will be shocked if this movie doesn't get an Oscar nomination for its special effects, because it looks great. 95% of the time, it looks amazing. I guess I also like that line from Pumbaa after Simba and Nala are reunited, and she's all like, "I thought you were dead." And then Pumbaa comes in, he's all like, "Him? I thought I was dead." I admit, that line got a laugh out of me. That's it. That's it. No, I can't compliment this movie anymore. I can't. It's not in me. If you thought Beauty and the Beast was pointless because it did nothing different, you haven't seen anything yet. This movie, I would consider plagiarism if it wasn't developed by the same company. Pure copy and paste. Why this movie is not being compared to the remake of Psycho is beyond me. Because it is literally that same level of quality and effort. How do you even credit a director? It looks exactly the same as the original film, just with no energy. How do you credit a writer? The dialogue is the exact same. Maybe some things are tweaked around a bit, maybe some dialogue is changed a bit, but it's 90% the same goddamn thing. Even some of the compliments have negative connotations to them. Like, even though these animals are animated to move and look like real animals, as a result, they're not allowed to be as expressive as they are in the original film. Which really freaks me out, because there are movies out there that have realistic-looking creatures with animated origins, but they're allowed to emote. Detective Pikachu, anyone? How come Disney isn't able to replicate that here? This even applies to some of the more harrowing action scenes, like the iconic Stampede scene. In the original, it's high octane. Everything is moving so quick and feels huge from Simba's point of view. However, in the remake, Because the animals are moving realistic, they feel like they're moving slower. As a result, the sense of danger is really watered down. Speaking of the stampede scene, this movie almost comes close to improving on the original. If you recall in the original, Zazu's freaking out over how he can help the situation while Mufasa is trying to save Simba. However, he annoys Scar, Scar slaps him, knocks him out, but then later on, when he's addressing the lions, Zazu never comes up to Scar and says, "Yo man, you knocked me out, what the hell?" This movie almost solves that problem by having Scar instruct Zazu to go get help. So that way, there's no witnesses. There's no suspicious moments that might need to be questioned. But then the movie goes back on its improvement by having Scar say, "I didn't get there in time. My bad." What? But Zazu saw you there. He can confirm that you were in fact there, Scar. What the hell? But he never says this. This is never even addressed again, making it even worse than the original film. Because at least in the original, you can argue maybe Zazu got amnesia. Like, he just got hit that hard and just didn't remember. Even the voice acting doesn't stand out in any way. I know someone wants me to say something positive about having James Earl Jones reprise his role as Mufasa, but he sounds like he is sleeping through half of it. The man has no energy. It's like he even knows, you're giving me the same script that I got 20 years ago. Well, if you guys don't care, why should I? And the rest of the voice actors, I mean, they show up, they say their lines, but nothing leaves an impact like the original does. Even the musical numbers feel really shallow. Can't Wait to Be King. What do you get in this movie? Simba and Nala running around with the other animals. Yeah, there's no leaf mane or anything. There's no fancy pyramid or whatever the hell that was in the original. It's just running around. And be prepared? What an insult to my childhood. In the original, you have Jeremy Irons yucking it up. You have green explosions, whatever the hell that was, and the ground eroding with Nazi imagery. That was a great song. In this one, you get none of that. It's just Scar jumping from one rock to another. How exhilarating. I guess Hakuna Matata exists. It's the least offensive of all the songs. Oh my god, I didn't even realize this in my viewing. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? It doesn't even take place during nighttime. I had to watch Doug Walker's review on Channel Awesome in order to remember that. At this point in the movie, I'd been so underwhelmed by the musical numbers that as soon as he pointed that out, I was like, oh my god, it doesn't even take place at night. Can you feel the love tonight? No, because it's not nighttime. How lazy is that? I suppose you could argue that this movie does a better job of explaining how Nala and Simba got reunited. Because if you recall in the original, she just kind of shows up in that paradise place where Simba's been all this time. But is it for the better, though, I have to ask? Because in this movie, it shows, like, Nala, she's an adult, and she doesn't like how everything has gone downhill, so she's just going off to find help. But they throw in, like, Scar almost finding her, the hyenas almost finding her, Zazu's now like a fugitive. It just feels pretty shallow, though, because in the end, she could have picked any direction to go in, and just stars were aligned. She just happened to go in the one direction that Simba happened to be in. Okay, sure. And oh geez, it's probably time to talk about the more pivotal scenes for when Simba was an adult. Okay, let's start with Rafiki's revelation. You might recall in the original film, Simba lets out a puff of dust, magic dust, whatever the hell that was, and it travels all the way to the Pride Lands, where Rafiki now realizes that Simba is actually alive. It's simple, but it's effective. Here's what the remake does. A clump of Simba's fur travels down a river. Now, at first, I thought we were getting a random representation of the circle of life and how we're all connected and all that, because then a bird picks up that clump of fur from the stream and starts putting it in a nest that he's working on. But then that same fur flies off the nest, and then a giraffe eats it. I have no idea where we're going with this, but then the movie shows me where we're going with this. I don't like where it went with this, because the very next shot, we see a dung beetle rolling a ball of crap, and that ball of crap breaks apart, and there's that same clump of Simba's fur. I don't remember how it got free of that ball of crap, but it did, and it made its way to Rafiki, and that is when he realizes that Simba is alive. A clump of fur that was just 1 second ago wrapped in feces. This feels like the perfect representation of what this movie is. It's The Lion King, but it's wrapped in crap. And we are supposed to be excited about it. Now it's time to talk about the big Mufasa scene in the sky. Once again, we have a scene where the remake almost improves on this. In the original, despite the fact that it's gorgeously animated, it's a little on the nose regarding whether or not there's an afterlife. Like, you see Mufasa's face in the sky, and he's talking down on Simba, and telling him all those things like, you've forgotten who you are. Why he doesn't say, yo, it was Scar who killed me. You got me. I guess that would make things too easy. But in this movie, the improvement comes from that you still see the clouds, and you get the lightning lighting up the sky and everything, but you don't actually see Mufasa's face. It's a silhouette. It's a shape. I'm actually 100% on board with this change, because then you can argue it was all in Simba's mind. All the trauma that he'd experienced, that he'd never acknowledged, that he's never been faced before, he's now facing it, and he's facing it in a way that he remembers from his childhood. This actually had me excited for the upcoming moment where Simba has to learn the lesson of, the pain is in the past. You got to do something about it. You got to learn from it. But this is the ultimate insult that the movie offers. That scene's not in here. It's cut. Bold-faced cut from the movie. What the f***? You can argue that the entire point of the movie is that scene. Yeah, stuff happens. You can't do anything about it. But you can. You can take responsibility for it. You can face it. You can own up to it. You can be better for it. And it's just gone. Disney threw it in the trash without a second thought. The rest of the movie is barely even worth talking about. Like, about the closest thing that stands out to me is Rafiki grabbing that staff of his, and then he's like, oh, welcome back, my old friend. He didn't have it. He hasn't had it throughout the entire movie. He had it in the beginning in the original, and it's iconic for his character, but he never had it here. He didn't have it at the baby shower at the beginning of the movie. This is the first time we see that staff, and we're expected to be like, oh, he has it now. When did he have it before? the rest of the movie is barely worth talking about, and I'm not gonna waste the energy. I can't. This movie sucked out so much. So let's ask the hard question. Where does this fall as one of the worst of the live action remakes that we've been getting? Personally, I'm gonna say it's second place. I think it's worse than Aladdin, because at least in Aladdin I had some fun with Will Smith as the genie. I think it's worse than Beauty and the Beast because even though the changes that they made were pointless, it didn't feel intrusive. And even though, yeah, the movie is very copy and paste and didn't do a whole lot, I still had fun with Luke Evans as Gaston and Emma Watson as Belle. But with Lion King, it's second worst. Dumbo still holds the spot for me. And I say this because, at least with this live action remake, it is Lion King. It's a shell of what the Lion King is supposed to be, but it is still the Lion King. It's a cynical cash grab. Absolutely, it is a cynical cash grab. But at least with Dumbo, it's not even about Dumbo half the time. It's about the two kids and their relationship with their dad. My honest rating for The Lion King 2019 is a 2 out of 5. The only reason I'm not giving it a 1 out of 5 is solely because I think the movie does look incredible. The animators, the CG artists did a wonderful job and deserve all the credit. Like I said, I think in that department it deserves an Oscar. But as a movie itself, it's an insult. I can't do it. I'm sure kids will like it enough if they haven't seen the original film, but if they haven't seen the original film, they need to see the original film. Just see the original. Don't bother with this one. Avoid it. All right, guys, we're moving on now. I've still got Annabelle Comes Home down the pipe, so keep an eye out for that one. And next week is Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so it's going to be an easy week next week for me. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great one. Hope to see you soon.